Centralizing, buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one leaves gun. Trees, laugh to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slide, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See the shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids. No one leaves countries. Lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Ron Stevens, your host here, UCY.TV. Thursday, I don't know what the date is here today, actually. I think it's the 7th, maybe. And welcome to Rock the Boat. I know I don't have the banner changed yet, but that will get done. But I've been having some fun here the last few days and been on the horn a lot. Just got gravel now, says your rock ain't busted, buddy. We got these guys by the shorts, really. And so I've been on the horn a lot the last few days here with Attorney General's office, the Premier's office, and several other offices. And it's getting, I was talking to the court. It's getting pretty humorous now. So I know a black African that lives down Kingston way who's had some trouble with these folks, the provincial folks, over the years. And I'm happy to say, my friend, that we're about to get this all cleaned up. And I'm going to see how far I can push it tomorrow when I'm at the court. We're going to go over tomorrow morning. Michael, the judge, is supposed to be back tomorrow in the Crown to see if they can nail Michael Schmidt's ass to the wall, which they can't and they won't. But it could be pretty humorous to see what happens there, because if they lose this one, they're going to lose the next one. If they lose those two, they're going to lose the next 5 court cases against Michael. And after 22 years of fighting with these jackasses, it's time for a win. So I'm going to go see if I can round up a justice of the peace tomorrow morning and have that paper, that information to set a private charge, criminal charge. And I've been talking a lot to in particular the Attorney General's office, and they know me well there. They have a file on me. And it's funny because the lady that I used to talk to there all the time, Madeline, very nice lady, and she's the one that said that my court case should have been dismissed the first time I was there, and if not the first time, the second time. But they kept dragging it back to court until I fed up with it and just walked away. At which point they found me guilty, and so I mean, these are the sweetest words I've ever seen in my life, because this is exactly, I probably said this same stuff on Tuesday, but tough luck. I had a very long conversation with the Law Society of Upper Canada. It's probably getting on a year now, and went through all of this stuff with the Justice of the Peace, and that says you can't practice law without a license, and the justices don't have a license. A traffic summons is a legal document, and it says on this paper I got from the courthouse last week or a week before, very, very specific, saying that justices of the peace are prohibited from giving any advice about your rights, nor can they give you any other type of legal advice, opinion, or guidance. And when I brought that up with the court clerk, she said she can't discuss it. And I go, why not? And she says, well, I'm not allowed to give legal advice. I said, why not? And she says, because I'm not a lawyer. And I went, thank you. And neither is a justice of the peace a lawyer. And they cannot give legal opinion. But in this very same document, it says that if the justice of the peace decides there are grounds to do so, a summons or more rarely a arrest warrant may be issued for the accused person to compel him or her to attend court. And for the justice of the peace to decide whether there are grounds to do so and issue a summons, this is all in the legal realm. His decision is a legal opinion on the information that I will give him on this in this form. And the beauty of it is, right at the very top, it says they are prohibited. And the Law Society, when I talked to them a year ago or whenever it was, agreed with that. And so that, like I told him, I says, you know what that means? And he goes, eesh. Every judgment, every legal opinion given in a POA court, which is Provincial Offences Act, which is like traffic court in the States or somewhere else, he does not have the capacity to give an opinion, a legal opinion. He's prohibited from giving a legal opinion. Because why? Because he ain't a lawyer. And the summons that brought you to the court is a legal document. So he's giving an opinion on a legal document of which he is prohibited from doing so. Now, I've been rattling the cages pretty hard over at the Attorney General's office the last couple of days, and they're getting to the point where they don't want to talk to me anymore. They kept shoving me over to this thing called the JSSO, which is the, I don't know what the hell it even stands for, the Judicial or Justice Secret Service Office or something. It's a security office, of which they have a file on me. And so I left a message with them today that they needed to get back to me ASAP because I want my files, because you have no authority to have a file on me. I've broken no laws, I've harmed no one, and you have no right to have a file on me. And that if you do not fork it up ASAP, then I will be taking the security group, which is a group, I think 12 or 16 police whose job is to secure courthouses or some stupid thing. Protect the judiciary, I guess it is. And so they ain't got back to me, and I told them at the Attorney General's office, they said, well, we can't give you legal advice. I said, well, let's put it this way. You got 800 lawyers there, okay? Just take this form, stick it in front of whatever lawyer's there, and if that lawyer can show me how I'm wrong, fine, we'll do something else. But it couldn't be more plain. It's plainer than the nose on your face. And therefore, you best get this sorted out, because I'm going back on the road. And if somebody isn't on me real quick, then I intend to file papers of fraud against the Attorney General and the Deputy General and everybody attached to the Attorney General's office, and probably the Premier's office as well, who I phoned a little while ago, and laid the same stuff on them. They're saying, well, we're not responsible for any of that stuff. Well, yeah, whatever. This is the premier, or I guess the states, what do we call them in the states? Senators? Whoever runs the state in the states. Um, Same deal. And they're telling me at the premier's office that the premier is not responsible for anything. Really? Thought that was head of, right? Well, no, not really. Well, whatever. But we either get this sorted out or we're all going to go to court because I've had enough of this crap. But the guy at the Law Society, when I talked to him, I mean, he did say, "Holy crap! You know what this means?" Yep. And what it means is that everyone that's ever been harmed by a POA court that was found guilty of an offense by justice of the peace, who was prohibited from giving a legal opinion because he's not a lawyer, is automatically reversed, and any suffering that any of these people had to go through, I, me, being dragged in and out of court and being assaulted on several occasions, is going to be looking for a paycheck and restitution and restoration. Anybody that's ever had something taken from them by the police, i.e. their vehicles, because a justice found someone guilty of a traffic offense and then turned around and then got busted for driving under suspension and had their vehicles taken from them, well, you're going to have to give the vehicles back, and if you don't have the vehicle, you're going to have to get a vehicle of similar quality and cost. And you'll also be on the hook for the inconvenience of not being able to get from A to B, loss of work, yada, 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 yada. So that's where we're going to go with that. And we'll see. I want to see if I can't dig me up a justice of the peace over at the courthouse tomorrow and have him sit down. We'll have a little chat with the lad. And also today was another weird day here. We had the last-ditch effort by the Census Bureau people to get me to fill out the census form. And that didn't go so well. I mean, nobody raised their voice. We actually ended up having a very nice chat. Explained that they broke all the rules and that they are using threat to make people fill these out, and that all it is, and it was amazing because the census lady finally admitted to it. I said, this census is nothing more than a financial instrument, okay? This is a financial instrument. This is going to be used to borrow money with, is what it is. And that's a fraud because I can't be party to borrowing money from an international banking association, loaning fiat money, and then charging me and you and everyone else interest on that fiat money to use these documents, the census, as financial instruments. And the lady that was here today, she was a supervisor, and I was talking about this idea of this threat to throw someone in jail if they didn't fill this out. And I said that the whole thing's a fraud, and fraud is against the law. So the census is actually against the law. And if I fill it out, I've involved myself in a fraud, and fraud is against the law, and I can't involve myself in fraud because I don't want to break the law. So, she actually told me later on that she has a friend who is a retired policeman, and I guess she talked to him about what do they got to do to get us to fill this census out, because I don't seem too concerned about them throwing me in jail. I'm not really taking the threat too seriously. And she was good. She was a good lady because, she said, I talked to him about it, and he said it's toothless. And if they ever did try to take you to court for not filling out this census with the threat that's attached to this, they would never get a conviction. In fact, the government would get themselves in a shitload of trouble. So that kind of got rid of this idea that you have to fill these things out. And we talked about a lot of other stuff. I explained to her that she doesn't own her house, and the car she came in, she doesn't own. As soon as you register something, said you don't own your children. You own nothing. As soon as you sign it over, it's theirs. And you can use it. It's just like your property. They call it your property where your house is. You get the right to enjoy it, but you don't own it. The state owns it. And so we talked for quite some period of time. It was nice. And then I said, I'm glad you came by, because I almost forgot to call back to the census office, because they haven't got back to me yet. They were supposed to inform me of who it was that called me and said, hi, is Ron there? Yeah. Well, I'm the Census Bureau, says the guy on the other end of the phone. Oh, you're the Census Bureau. Well, that's impossible. But he didn't. He broke his own law, and the census people agree with it, because he didn't leave his. He is supposed to introduce himself with his name and his security identification or identification from the census identification, which he didn't do, and he refused to give me any name or anything before he hung up. So I thought I better go phone the census people back again and see what's cooking. So now the shoe's on the other foot here. And I was talking to a guy by the name of Charlie there today. And I was looking for this Allen guy who was a supervisor who was getting me a higher up, who was the guy apparently who called but then ran away on me. And so we went through a whole bunch of stuff, and I explained to him the census form is a complete load of bunk, because there's no mention of a man or a woman in it, and it says what sex is the person, male or female. And I was explaining to Charlie that's another mistake you have here, and you're probably going to piss a lot of people off with it, because first of all, a person isn't a man or a woman, and a person, you're asking the person to describe themselves as male or female, and a person doesn't have a gender, because a person is a legal fiction made up in the mind of some dick-ass lawyers. And therefore, it would be fraudulent to fill in male or female, because a person isn't male or female. It's a sheet of paper at best. Maybe unless you're in Quebec, where they have male and female for everything. But generally, it's a fraud. And the other thing that you screwed up on, I was explaining to Charlie, is you probably pissed a whole bunch of people off, because all we've got, we just come out of Pride Month here, and we have so many different self-identifiers for gender now, and you only include male and female. So the transsexuals are going to be pissed off at you, the asexuals are going to be pissed off at you, the intersex are going to be pissed off at you. You're going to have a lot of pissed off people, because they can't even fill the form out. I self-identify as an elephant. I don't see anywhere I can put elephant in here. What are you going to do? So we had a nice chat about that. So, he went off looking for Alan, and he couldn't find Alan in there. It was a supervisor, so he found his particular supervisor and run some stuff by it. And so his supervisor told Charlie, I don't think Alan or I have the capacity to deal with this. So tell Ron, get his phone number, and we will get one of the top guys to give him a shout and see if we can't go through this. So I explained to Charlie, that's a good idea. You do that because I think we're going to file some paperwork against the census group, the StatsCan group, for fraud, coercion, and I don't know why I can't remember that word today. What's the word I'm looking for? Where they're forcing you for a signature, basically, under threat. So the whole document's fraudulent. You put it forward as a fraudulent. You weren't honest about anything. People think this is simply something that helps, when in fact it's really a financial instrument. And nowhere on here does it describe what it actually is. So that's deception, which is a fraud. So you tell your supervisor to get whoever is at the top of this chain to give me a shout, and we'll decide how it is we're going to move forward on this. I'm going to start filing a serious amount of paper here, just because you can. And so we'll have some fun with that, I guess, and see what we can do with it. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow because Michael, people had to see it. I've never seen a judge chewing on his fingernails, looking rather perplexed. And you can just see what's going through his head there last time we were over there. He says, how in the hell am I supposed to find this guy guilty? And so he's going to come back tomorrow, and I'm sure he won't have had a conference with Michael, but he'd be damn sure he's been talking to the prosecutor and probably the M&R, whose cameras Michael is accused of stealing, and setting these people down and going, this case should have never been brought to court in the first frickin' place, you twits. Because you had no chance of conviction in this. And you can't, by law, bring it forward unless you have more than a reasonable chance of conviction, which you all knew you didn't. You brought it forward anyway. So now Michael has the door wide open to sue our asses off for bringing something forward that should have never been brought forward. And you're telling me to find this guy guilty, and if I don't find him guilty, he's going to sue our asses off. And I do find him guilty, he's going to sue our asses off. Is kind of what I'm expecting from tomorrow. So this should be a bit of a hoot. So I'm going to go over there tomorrow and shoot some video and get a statement from Michael. And then we can throw that, I guess, up on Looney Tunes YouTube there and fire that out. So we just got to stay on top of these guys. All the rhetoric that's been going on, it doesn't matter. We got to roll up our sleeves, rock the shit out of this boat, man, because we're going to flip it, and then we get back where we're supposed to be. Now, I said a long time ago that Hillary Clinton was going to be the next president of the United States. I've listened to all kinds of people chewing on me. Hillary Clinton ain't going to be next the president of the United States. They're going to indict her ass. I said, no, they're not. They're going to play around with this for a bit, get everybody all excited, get the Trump movement going. And they're trying to really, order out of chaos. And they are really starting to, doing their best to create chaos. And but Hillary Clinton, as I said a long time ago, is going to be the new president of the United States. The only way she won't be the president is if that goomer Obama decides to pull some kind of nonsense or some, a bad financial crash or something that they have to deal with it, and therefore they have to put the elections aside for the time being. I mean, what could be scarier? Hail Hillary. Yeah, all right. But that video from the legislature up here in Canada, Stan, I guess they call it, where we have, this is what kills me. I hear all these hosts bitching about right and left, and all these papers, I'm bitching about right and left. And so if people are still thinking there's such a thing as a right and left, all you have to do is go watch the video of Obama in our legislature giving a speech. What a little twit he is. And all members of the House, right and left. I mean, if there was anything more ludicrous, if there was anything that should wake people up, that would be it. You have the right and the left and the middle, all in the House. 4 more years, 4 more years. Well, what are you, stupid? Well, they are actually stupid. But they actually think we're stupid. And I think that's their big mistake. They're convinced we're stupid, and they can act as stupid as they want, and we won't get it. Fact is, everybody in the House is hollering 4 more years, and do they not get the idea? Does everybody in the House, in the legislation, the federal government of this dumbass place they call Canada, not understand that there's a 2-term limit in the United States? But no, here they are, Clownland, all in the House yelling 4 more years. He's already done 8, or they've done 8 at the end of his terms. You can't have 4 more, so what are you assholes yelling 4 more years for? But it's not just the liberals cheering on the Democrats. Up here we've got the liberals, which is your Southern Democrats. We have the conservatives, which are your Southern Republicans, and the off-brand parties like the Greens and the NDP and that, all of them screaming 4 more years. Now, there ought to be, I mean, a lot of people have said this over the years as well as myself, there ought to be a stupid law, right? There needs to be a stupid law. Because if every member of the House of the federal government and the opposition parties are yelling 4 more years for a guy who's ending his 2nd term, which is the term limit, these people are running this place called Canada? I mean, even Bart Simpson would be able to understand that he ain't got 4 more years. But not the members of our legislature up here in Canada. That's how daft they are. I mean, we just had Pride Month. They used to have a gay pride parade here for a day. And now we worked our way up to Pride Month. And, it's freaking over the top. I mean, this is worse than a cartoon because this is supposed to be reality, and it's not. Reality you will get when you overturn and right the boat. And we get out of this fictional stupidity that we've been held under for so long. We have, I read somewhere we're going to have a mail strike or something here, which is fine with me. I don't pick up the mail that often anyways. But we're supposed to have a mail strike, which is always good. It'll be part of the chaos process, I suppose. Now, I got a link here earlier from our Communist Broadcast Corporation called the CBC. And, I got to tell you this story first. I was on Facebook last night, and there was a post up something, it was a news article that scientists, I wonder if I can even find it. Just bear with me for 1 second. I'm going to see if I can dig that out of here. this is how daft things are. Absolutely stupid. Um, let's see. Uh, let's see here. Yada 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 yada. See if I can find this. Oh, here it is. I got it. That was easy. Um, this is on Google News. It's on some other news, but this is from the Telegraph. Now, this somebody put in a Facebook page that had to do with climate change in that last night. And so somebody posted this thing, and I just posted that, like, don't freak out because the weatherman, the scientists can't get the weather right for 3 days straight, but they have this somehow capacity to tell you that there will be no more mussels in 85 years. So I'm just going to look at this quickly because I didn't really read the article last night. I just put in a bit of a disparaging comment about scientists, of which a spit I have no use for, and a bunch of fraudsters. And so I just put this thing in about, that you can't get the weather right for 3 days, and you posting this crap about 85 years from now, there won't be any mussels. And the guy wrote some stuff back, and he said something about a species, right? Calling us a species. And I said, well, I ain't no species, I'm a man. And then he wrote back that, well, in reality, we're a virus. And we're responsible for all of this stuff. And so I couldn't help myself. I just, just told him to, if you self-identify as a virus, and you're blaming the virus, we have to get the virus off the planet. Then my suggestion to you is get the hell off the planet. And while you're getting off the planet, take all of these stupid, asinine UN, Rockefeller, idiot scientists with you. And he didn't much care for that. And so he sent back a stupid note, and I says, look, you leave, take your scientists with you, and give me a call in 85 years, and I'll let you know how the mussels are doing. I mean, these stories are so freaking over the top and ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The increasing acidity of the oceans due to climate change, which is underlined, means that farming or fishing for mussels will be commercially unviable by 2100. Researchers at Washington University in Seattle have established that a mussel's ability to grip to a rock or rope is dependent on the acidity of the surrounding sea. Things will get really bad all of a sudden, says Professor Emily Carrington. Right, you get on that same thing where the virus is leaving, and you give me a call, Emily, in 85 years. The mollusks have to cling in place for anywhere between 6 and 12 months while they grow to a marketable size. But if they are dislodged, they are likely to be eaten by other sea life or become otherwise unrecoverable. Professor, and I don't like professors either, Emily Carrington, one of the lead researchers, carried out tests which revealed that increased acidity or lower pH substantially weakened a mussel's ability to adhere to a surface. So, with that knowledge, that little bit of knowledge, she, Emily, the professor, predicts that within 85 years, the acidity of the coastal regions where mussels currently thrive will pass a threshold beyond which nearly half will be unable to cling on long enough to be farmed. That's what Emily says. It's a prediction. It's not based on anything but her prediction. It's no more than the IPC and their stupid predictions or any of these other predictions that are being made. And, but they're experts, they're professors, right? Did you know that cooking with mussels is now popular around the world, although as a tradition, it is believed to have originated in Belgium and the Low Countries? Didn't know that. I've never cooked a mussel, but I better because it's popular. So I don't want to miss out on this. So I better go cook me a mussel. I don't know where to go get one, but I better go find one. The global industry is now worth around 1.1 billion annually. Mussels generally live in tidal zones where strong waves and currents protect them from predators such as crabs, fish, and sea stars while filtering plankton out of the seawater for food. What a lovely little story. They make their attachment threads in a grove which runs the length of their foot, where a carefully controlled pH level allows different adhesive proteins to mix together. A strong attachment is literally a mussel's lifeline, said Professor Carrington. Our early laboratory studies showed mussels made weaker attachment threads when seawater pH dropped below 7.6. Currently, around 20% of mussels fall and are lost on the sea floor due to weak attachments. But, Professor Carrington said, once coastal waters dropped below 7.6, the proportion was projected to double to 40%. At 40% mortality, it is probably no longer a viable business, she said. Farmers would have to send divers down to set up nets and catch everything that fell off. And even then, crabs would be able to get in at low tide. They might even have to move the mussels into different waters to survive, which would make it too difficult. Although the global average ocean pH is only predicted to lower from 8 to 7.8 over the course of the century, which would be over to 2100, which is still above her falling off the thread at 7.6, right? Over the course of the century, coastal areas where acidity routinely fluctuates would be significantly ahead of the trend, Professor Carrington said. These people get a paycheck for this shit. She said there would be no gradual increase in mortality. However, with the shellfish clinging on until the sea reached the 7.6 level, things will get really bad. All of a sudden, she said. Now, we should be able to sue people like this. Okay? We should just be able to sue them. Because they're supposed to be professionals. This ain't some half-pissed guy at a bar telling you that mussels are going to be gone in 85 years and why. This is a professor. Now, a professor ought to know better that you don't go around making these warrantless predictions of which you can't back up anything about what you're talking about. And the newspaper should be sued for printing the crap. All fear-mongering based on nothing. Absolutely nothing. But we can do that because we live in a fictional world. So the papers can write all the fiction they want, and the professors in the science can spew all the fiction they want, because we live in a fictional world. So what do you expect but fiction? And that's what you're getting, fiction. Fiction, 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 fiction. Stupid story, man. Here's another fear-mongering pile of nonsense. U.S. Health Agency monitoring 320 pregnant women with Zika. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said on Thursday, don't listen to us, we're full of crap. No, that's not what they said on Thursday. that it is monitoring 320 pregnant women in the U.S. with laboratory evidence. What the hell does that mean? It doesn't say they have it. They have laboratory evidence. Now, you may want to qualify what that means. Of Zika virus infection, up from 287 women a week earlier. Now, I don't know if this is evidence of sea pH dropping rapidly because of acidity or what it's about, but we're going to read it a little bit and find out. However, the number of babies born in the United States with birth defects linked to Zika infection in mothers during pregnancy or lost pregnancy linked to the virus remained unchanged from last week's report at 7 and 5, respectively, according to the CDC registry created last month. So now we have a Zika registry that was created last month. The registry compiles poor outcomes of pregnancies with laboratory evidence of possible Zika virus infection in the 50 states and the District of Columbia. The latest figures are of June the 30th. Locally transmitted cases expected soon in the U.S. Based on what? I don't know. We're going to find out. I'm thinking some fictional horse shit. Locally transmitted cases expected soon in the U.S. Oh my God, don't go outside. You'll get a Zika. Zika has caused concern throughout the Americas due to an alarming rise in cases of I can't even say that, and other severe fetal brain abnormalities linked to the mosquito-borne virus reported in Brazil, the country hardest hit by the outbreak. Infants with microcephaly or whatever are born with abnormally small heads and may experience potentially disabling developmental problems. Brazil has confirmed more than 1,600 cases of this small head virus linked to Zika. Now that's ridiculous. I think Brazil has a population of 250 million, I think, somewhere in there. And so we have 16 cases of something that's possible, but we're not really got a handle on it. But you best be fearful. All reported cases, U.S. cases of Zika have so far involved people who traveled to areas with a current outbreak. But health experts have warned that local transmission cases are likely to occur in the coming weeks during summer mosquito season. Gulf Coast states such as Florida and Texas are seen as particularly vulnerable. The virus can also be transmitted via unprotected sex with an infected mosquito. Whoops, that's not true. The virus can also be transmitted via unprotected sex with an infected man. See, it's all about man, and it's all about population. And we just had our Pride Week where nobody in that group is going to get anybody pregnant. And now we have don't have sex because, well, you could get the Zika virus. And then your child will have a little head. Well, if you want to really find the little pinheads, go slide into a government office somewhere. These people all have the Zika virus. They have extremely small brains. Their heads may look somewhat of a normal size, but as far as I know, the Zika can go the other way. You can get a bloated head as well. And you'll see lots of bloated heads if you look at politicians and lawyers and that. Like, they may be infected as well. In fact, they may be the carriers. And it's a good possibility that if we do a little more scientific research, we'll find that that is the problem. And what we need to do is round up all the politicians and all the lawyers and all the preachers and all the scientists and all the professors and quarantine them so that they don't infect anyone else. Because all those groups I just mentioned all suffer some kind of a brain virus, okay? Because they're all mentally stupid. And they live in some Zika virus or some other type of virus world. I guess it's the fiction virus that's got a real hold on them people. and they are a danger to everyone else. And I think we should come up with a vaccination for them. I don't know, put some motor oil in it, maybe a little arsenic. Put whatever you want in it. I mean, the vaccines are given to the children are full of garbage like mercury and all the rest of nonsense, and pig and cattle and whatever else they slam into these things. We want to make sure that we get this virus that has infected the brains of these so-called professionals. We got to get that cleaned up. And somebody mix up something, and we'll call it a vaccine, and then we'll inject that into these mental cases and see if it helps them. And of course, whatever we mix up and whatever we inject into these people, we can't be held responsible for any bad side effects, because we want the same rules and regulations for our vaccine that we create as the vaccine manufacturers, the pharmaceutical industries have for the vaccines they're shoving into everybody's arms that is disabling, hurting, and killing so very, very many people. So, you guys, if you're out in your workshop or something, you got a bunch of stuff laying around you want to get rid of, and just, work up a new vaccine for these people. Let's see. Health minister. Oh, Jesus. The scientists, according to this, are furious. What's got them all in a... look at this. Look at these stories. I don't even believe this. Health minister orders emergency meeting with furious scientists. And then down below here, we have best before dates and expired dates, 5 things you may not know. Hospital staff in Toronto learn the do's and don'ts of LGBTQ lingo. Man, that's going to be fun in the hospitals, eh? So now we're going to have to spend a whole bunch of money training the doctors and the nurses and the support staff on the do's and don'ts of the LGBTQ lingo, because, well, we don't want to upset these people, do we? Scientists protest frustration over federal research funding chaos. So we got furious scientists, which forced the emergency meeting with the health minister, and the scientists are protesting frustration over federal research funding chaos, and the HPV vaccination, which is the vaccination for cervical cancer. But I looked into that very long ago, and when you work it all through, this vaccine, there are, this particular HPV only supposedly attacks this one particular virus, if it is such a thing, which the odds on any female getting are so freaking low, you must go buy lottery tickets. But that seems cause to vaccinate all the young girls who are just going into, a period of where they can have children, and then just to make sure that we screw everybody up. And it was promoted to fight against cervical cancer. The scientists and the pharmaceutical people and your doctors and lawyers and politicians all get together and say, well, that worked. Well, why don't we give it to the boys? Well, I don't know, Jimmy. What's the problem? Well, I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but last time I looked into it, boys don't have cervix. So why would we be giving them an HPV vaccination for something that boys don't have? Oh, you're being too picky there, Jim. You're being way too picky. But we're needle crazy now, right? A lot of money in it. And we're just going to keep making vaccines and give it to everybody. Let's see here. Which one of these things do I want to look at real quick? I got to go with the hospital staff do's and don'ts. I got to go there. We just finished the Pride Month. Michael Garron Hospital holds training sessions to foster an inclusive environment. And yeah, in the basement of Toronto East General Hospital, a lesson in language is underway. Nurses, occupational therapists, social workers, and kitchen staff, no less, are in the room. One of the trainers, Jack Hickson Volpe, faces them, and this picture, Jack is absolutely gay, at least. He doesn't look transgendered, possibly. Maybe just self-identifying as something else today. But anyways, he's working with the people and faces them and asks, is anyone comfortable giving a definition of the term queer? And many nod their head no. Some say they may have Googled the word once. The gay, what is he? He's a trainer, says. He continues, queer can be understood as an umbrella term for people who are gay, lesbian, bisexual. And we have to create safer working places. He says a transgendered man with the LGBTQ organization, the 519. I'm sorry. I was wrong. He's not gay. He's transgendered. Okay. Working with the organization called the 519. Well, that scares me. My area code here is 519. Holy crap. He has been enlisted by the hospital to train healthcare workers on how to work with transgendered patients. I think creating a safer workplace and inclusion for everyone is really important thing for us to take into consideration, he told CBC News. The extensive training program at the renamed Michael Garron Hospital is said to be a first for a Canadian hospital. We serve an incredibly diverse population. Remember, the word diverse means evil and wicked. We serve an incredibly evil and wicked population is what it should say, because that's what it's become. But they like to use the word diverse. But use whatever word you want. But they're teaching the hospital staff apparently how to deal with these words of transsexual and gendered queer and lived identity and two-spirit and co-gender and a whole bunch of these other words. So we may as well use the proper definitions of the word in the story. We serve, says the transgendered gentleman who is the trainer, we serve an incredibly evil, wicked population, and our staff is reflected of that wicked, evil population, says Emily Ambos, who's with Human Resources and one of the hospital's trainers. So in order to create an environment that is inclusive for both, it is important for us to learn the different types of languages to understand the experience of others and to share our own. The fact that we are having this dialogue is so important because it makes you more mindful, Ambos tells the class. It makes you more self-aware. That self-awareness is tested when hospital staff members break out in groups and are given various scenarios. Go to the Rockefeller Foundation and learn all about the use of scenarios. Please do that. They're then asked to come up with solutions. Problem, reaction, solution. And they have scenarios, okay? They create the problem. If you go to the Rockefeller Foundation, I found that the best because that's where really a lot of this stuff came from in the first place. and look at how they use scenarios. One scenario, they always give you 3-4 scenarios to deal with, but always leads you to the solution to the problem they created. These scenarios do. They're then asked to come up with solutions. One scenario involves a woman who is startled when a transgender woman enters a public washroom. The consensus on the table is to try to calm both of them down. There's agreement by some that the transgender woman also has a right to use the bathroom. That tolerance and understanding is not always there. Transgender people are subjected to intense discrimination, says the transgender trainer. At a recent global summit in Amsterdam, this is a global summit. This is a UN summit, obviously, because everything global is UN. In Amsterdam, health experts said many transgender people are routinely denied basic health care. Accessing health care is also a challenge. There are stories of doctors examining a transgender patient's body with no connection to why the patient came to the hospital in the first place. Some transgender patients are referred to by the wrong name or the wrong pronoun. Boxes on hospital administration forms don't reflect transgendered individuals. Well, nor does the census. Access to hormone treatment for transgender people is often displayed and perverted. Let's see. I think it's necessary to recognize that everyone needs to be able to access the hospital safely. And currently, for a lot of trans and gender non-conforming individuals, that accessing hospitals is not something that a lot of people feel comfortable doing, says Hickson. He's on the run. But first, a conversation with Dr. Kevin Meyer on the LGBTQ challenges in our healthcare system. An awesome start to the conversation is what he says. Nevertheless, social worker Kelly Rigoloff was excited to attend. I think it's awesome in healthcare when we start having this conversation. Now, conversation is a key word of UN agendas. It's used constantly. Let's start a conversation. That you can track that straight back to the UN, the use of conversation. She says she knows some of her colleagues were reluctant about attending the course, but that they are trying to be open-minded. The fact that they're here and they showed up, that's huge, she says. Nurse Tanya Yako says it was a valuable session. Now I have a better understanding of how to use those terms and how to approach people of different genders or their orientation. We need to be talking about this stuff, and especially in a hospital, says Rigoloff. After all, it's 2016. Now, what the hell does after all is 2016 have to do with anything? Okay? Nothing is what it has to do with anything. If you're sick and you go to a hospital, somebody will look after you. This is more of the arts. This is more of the professions, telling you how you are going to live your life. This is a huge, huge con, and people must get over this stuff and begin to deal with it. And I want to rock the boat so that we get it back to a little bit of reality, because this fiction is really getting twisted. Anyways, that's the hour. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. And we're going to court tomorrow to see how Michael Smith works out. Stay firm, stay polite, like a good man,
they don't matter, genocide, sick from water, sick from air, making money, they don't care, seize the shit, force them out, fuck them back, it's only for they want, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids, no one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die, cause God forgives.
My name is S.M. Gibson.